I'm Judy here in central Missouri, Clark. I'm going to talk a little bit about our shiitake log mushroom operation. Right now we're looking at the inoculating area. I built an inoculating table, which takes a lot of the repetitious work out of doing it as far as handling the log. Here we got turntables that the logs spin on each end. And so on that end, we drill them with a high-speed grinder. So we drill the holes in them. This whole table is loaded full of logs, and then on this end we actually inoculate them. And we've kind of graduated. We started out with the plain old, you put your spawn in the bucket and then you set it over your hole and you push it in. And that works fine if you're going to do, maybe 100 or 200 logs. But when you start getting into, 1,000 or more logs, boy, this guy right here is the cat's meow. So what you do is they come with these styrofoam preloaded cut clips. That goes in there. And then it's got the end that the spawn goes in. You hit it twice, you set it over your hole, and when you go down, it actually puts a little piece of that foam over the hole. So your spawn goes in and it seals it with the foam all in one pass. These things are awesome. I like to have my spawn bucket right here in front of me. So as I'm spinning, the key to a log is you put your holes in about every 6 inches. And then you give the log about 1/3 of a turn and you do it again. And as big as your log is, you just keep doing that till you get the whole log covered. So this particular log has probably about 45 holes in it. This is the setting yard over here. And on the setting yard, again, you want to put this where you want to store your mushrooms at. You don't want to be carrying these things around, the logs. And so these are all being fruited right now. In other words, the mycelium is traveling throughout the sap bark area of that log. And if you look there, you can see it real well. That dark ring, that's where all the food is for your mushrooms, okay? This inner part that's heartwood. There's no food for a mushroom in there. You're better off to stay in the 4 to 5 inch. They're a lot lighter. Okay, we're kind of different from the industry. We cut ours. This is about a 4 foot, 4.5 foot log. Most people cut them 3 foot. We like to cut them tall, so you'll see in a minute in our fruiting yard we stack them like that, log cabin style. And so you can pick 1/3 of your crop without bending over. When you cut your logs, you've got to cut them in the winter after the leaves have fallen off in the fall. You can't use a dead log to grow shiitake mushrooms. And the reason you can't on a dead log, there's already fungi in there, and it's going to kick your fungi out. So you've got to use a live tree when the leaves have fallen off, cut that thing down, and it's the limbs. It's not the trunk. Cut the trunk up into lumber, but this is all limb wood. That's what I like about it. So we're growing food on a piece of wood that we normally would have cut up for firewood. And it's another product that we're selling on Green Pastures Farm right now. So we're kind of excited about the shiitakes. We've got lots of timber. We're gonna create more and more silvopasture, which is going in and cleaning out some of these trees where they're too thick. Guess what? We got a product here that we can sell now. This is another important step over here. You need to make sure you protect your logs until the mycelium has a chance to go through all that sapwood, okay? If you don't put this netting on there, the woodpeckers, they'll go around here and they'll pick out every single one they can reach that you drilled, and they'll pick out all that mycelium spawn that you just put in there. Keep it in a shaded area. You can see there's not hardly any sun in here. You can't put these things out in sunlight and expect to grow mushrooms. They've got to have a darker area. They can have a little sunlight on them, but you don't want full sunlight. You don't want your log moisture to drop below 25%. If it drops below 25%, there's a good chance you're going to kill the bugs in here, the mycelium. And so we're very fortunate. We have a lake right here, and it's a big lake. It's 2 acres. I've got a pump that I just drop in there, and I can soak these dudes. And I watch it. If we go 2 or 3 weeks, 100 degrees, maybe a month, I'll just turn the sprinkler on and I'll leave it on for a good period of time and get them good and soaked. This is where we actually cut the mushrooms. We let them grow here. We've got a really nice place here. We got these great big white oak trees, and they kind of got some massive limbs that give us quite a bit of shade in here. And so we decided to do teepee style. So we've got these steel posts, and we got 20-foot long steel pipe, and we just cross them teepee style all the way across. It makes it really easy to cut the mushrooms, and we don't have to handle the mushrooms. So there's some people lay them on the ground when they're not fruiting, and they stand them up when they start to fruit. There's about 1,200 logs. That's a lot of labor every time you move them up, take them down, move them up, take them down. And so we basically cut mushrooms here every time we get moisture. So if we get a 1 or 2 inch rain, we need to be out here probably within 2 to 3 days. There's gonna be mushrooms exploding out of these logs. You get about a half a pound to 1 pound of mushrooms per log per fruiting. And they'll fruit about 3 times a year. We've got several different varieties in here. We have a wide range, which means from basically the onset of spring all the way till fall, you can expect to grow mushrooms. There is a cool season species in here. They only produce when it's cool. And then I have a warm season that only produces when it's hot. And so what I'm trying to do is cover my bases as many months of the year as I possibly can. These mushrooms, you know, it's just an operation that I played with. I bought a 5-pound bag of spawn. I did 40 logs, and I saw what they did, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to ramp this up a bit. And so, you know, just buy you a bag. Don't jump in and do 1,000 logs at the start. You know, maybe do 20 or whatever, and just see how you get along with it. Again, we can grow food on a resource on our farm. We're all about diversity here at Green Pastures Farm. We like to have as many income streams as possible. So if we're gonna bring somebody a quarter of beef or a half a hog, why not bring them a couple pounds of shiitake mushrooms? You know, you need to have some products to offer your customers. So with that, I think that pretty well wraps it up.